Hello dear students, my name is Rahul Kumar Sharma. Here in this video lecture, I am going to talk about kinematics of a particle. This topic is very vast, that's why I will be discussing this same topic in various parts. So let us go through the part 1. As we know that engineering mechanics is broadly classified into two categories, statics and dynamics. Dynamics is further classified into two categories, kinematics and kinetics. Let us go through the definition of statics. It is the study of distribution and effects of forces on bodies which are at rest and remains at rest. Dynamics. It is the study which deals with the forces and its effect while acting upon the bodies in motion. Kinematics. It is the study of motion of bodies without considering the forces causing the motion. It deals with the relationship between displacement, velocity and acceleration with respect to time. These are the motion characteristics. Displacement, velocity and acceleration. These are the motion characteristics. Kinetics. It is the study of motion of bodies together with the forces causing the motion. Before we talk about further topic, let us first try to understand types of motion. The first is the translational motion, rotational motion and combined translational and rotational motion. Translational motion is further classified into two categories, rectilinear motion and curvilinear motion. In translational motion, body changes its position, whereas in rotational motion, body does not change its position, does not change its original position, only body rotate about a fixed axis. Whereas in combined translational and rotational motion, both type of motion take place together. Let us try to understand the translational motion in detail. Translational motion is the motion in which body shifts from one point to another point. In rectilinear motion, object moves along a straight line. For example, elevators in a public building. In curvilinear motion, object moves along a curved path. Example, if we throw stone into air at a particular angle, so definitely it will follow a curved path like a projectile. So it can be considered as a curvilinear motion. And second is pure rotational motion. Is the motion in which object rotates about a fixed axis. In pure rotational motion, object does not change its original position from its original position. The example is a ceiling fan. Let us try to understand what do we mean by the rectilinear motion. Rectilinear motion can be considered in two parts. The first part is rectilinear motion along x-axis, rectilinear motion along y-axis. If the net force acting upon the body, it is called as the resultant force. If the resultant force is constant, then translational motion takes place along a straight line. That straight line may be horizontal line or that straight line may be a vertical line as like a y-axis. If the motion is taking place along a x-axis, along a horizontal line, then it can be called as a rectilinear motion along a x-axis. If that motion is taking place along a y-axis, suppose if we throw a stone into air exactly vertically upward, so definitely it will go up and it may come down along the same straight line. So it can be called as a rectilinear motion along a y-axis. Second is curvilinear motion. If the direction of resultant force varies, then motion will not be in a straight line and we call such motion as curvilinear motion or two-dimensional motion. Let us consider this is the x and y axis and the intersection of x and y axis. This point is called as a frame of reference. Okay. Suppose motion starts from this point. Let us consider this is the trajectory or the path followed by a flying bird. Okay. Suppose initially that bird, it was at this point. Okay. Then it flies. Then it reaches to another position. If I wanted to know what is the position of that bird when that bird it is at that point, at that particular point, so if I want to describe the position, then I will require two coordinates, x coordinate and y coordinate. So to define the horizontal distance of that particular point with respect to frame of reference, that is the O point, that is the origin point. So from the origin point, the horizontal distance is the x1, that is the horizontal distance x1, and the vertical distance is the y1. So at any point, if I wanted to define the position, suppose if I wanted to know what is the position of that flying bird with respect to origin point. So with respect to origin point, that flying bird, it is at distance x2 with respect to y-axis, and it is at the distance, or the vertical displacement is y2 with respect to x-axis. So what is the conclusion? In curvilinear motion, we require two coordinates to define the position, whereas in case of rectilinear motion, the rectilinear motion, it also called as one-dimensional motion, because only one coordinate is sufficient. Because if motion is taking place along a x-axis, then definitely the y coordinate is 0. So if that body it is at point A, then the displacement is x1. When the body it is at the point B, the displacement from the origin point O is the x2. So here only one coordinate is required, other coordinate is 0. Whereas in case of along y-axis, the coordinate is y1 at point A, and at point B the vertical distance, that is the y2. So only one coordinate is required, and that is along the either x-axis or along the y-axis. Other coordinate is 0. Let us try to understand the motion characteristics, that are displacement, velocity, and acceleration. The displacement is what? To describe the motion of a particle, we must specify its position at any instant of time with respect to a frame, with respect to a reference frame. Displacement means change in position of the particle during this interval of time. Let us consider that this object as like a car. Okay, so suppose that particular object, initially it was at O point, then motion starts, then after some time t1, that object reaches to a position, that is A. Again after some time, that object reaches to another position, that position is denoted by point B. So if I wanted to know what is the displacement that occurred during the time t1 to t2, so if I consider time t1 is the time required to reach to point A from the reference frame O. So to cover the distance O to A, the time required is t1, and to cover the distance O to B, the time required is t2. So if I wanted to know what is the net displacement during this particular time interval, so if I wanted to know what is the net displacement during the time t1 to t2, so that displacement will be that x2 minus x1. So that the distance between A to B, it is the net displacement that occurred during the time interval t1 to t2. So in this way we determine the displacement. So if the object is moving on the right hand side of the reference point, then that displacement will be considered as positive. Whereas if that object moves along the negative x-axis, so then in that case the displacement will be considered as negative. So it depends whether toward which side the displacement is taking place, whether it is toward on the right hand side or left hand side. Similarly, if the motion is a rectilinear motion along a y-axis, in that case, if object moving vertically upward, then displacement will be taken as positive. If that object is moving vertically downward, then that displacement will be taken as negative. Remember this sign convention, because displacement is a vector quantity, whereas distance is a scalar quantity. Let us go through the definition of a velocity. It can be defined as rate of change of displacement with respect to time. Let us consider this displacement versus time graph. Suppose initially the object it is at rest, and at time t is 0, the displacement is 0. At time t1 the displacement is x1. At time t2 displacement is x2. So if I wanted to know what is the velocity during the time interval t1 to t2, then the mathematical formula, the mathematical expression of velocity is change in displacement divided by change in time. So x2 minus x1, I am considering the time interval that is t1 from t1 to t2 only. So the change in time is t2 minus t1 and the change in displacement is x2 minus x1. So mathematically it can be rewritten as velocity v is equal to dx by dt. Let us call this equation as equation number 1. So this the slope of the xt graph. So if I draw a horizontal line here and if I draw a vertical projection up to this, okay, so this particular the vertical height up to the horizontal projection, that height is dx and the base of the triangle will be the dt. So from the slope of this xt graph we can get the velocity. Let us try to understand what is acceleration. The acceleration of the particle can be defined as the rate of change of velocity with respect to time. If I consider the velocity versus time graph, let us consider that when time t is 0, v is 0. Okay, so it means initially body it was at rest position if velocity is 0 when time t is 0. At time t1 the velocity is v1, at time t2 the velocity is v2. So if I am considering the time interval between t1 to t2, then the change in velocity during the time interval t1 to t2, that change in velocity is v2 minus v1. So why? Because at time t1 velocity was v1, at time t2 the velocity become v2. So the change in velocity is what? v2 minus v1 divided by t2 minus t1. So it can be rewritten as a is equal to dv by dt. Let us call it as equation number 2. Now, as we just now we have derived equation 1, equation 2. So by separation of variable we can rewrite acceleration is equal to dv by dt. Okay, so it can be rewritten as dv by dx into dx by dt. So if as we know, dx by dt is what? The dx by dt is velocity v. So instead of writing dx by dt, I write here v into dv by dx. So the third equation becomes acceleration a is equal to v into dv by dx. So let us call this equation as equation number 3. The above three equations are known as differential equations of motion. So most important equations, these are the most important equations, so remember this. So there are various types of numericals that can be asked over these topics. So the first type of numerical I have categorized as numerical based on differential equations of motion. The question is, the position of a particle in a rectilinear motion is defined by the relation that is x is equal to 2t cube minus 8t square plus 4t minus 2, where x is in meter and t is in seconds. Determine its position, velocity and acceleration at time t is equal to 3 seconds. So here the position means what? Displacement. So here the motion is defined by giving the mathematical expression for position. So the given equation is written as equation number 1. So as we know that velocity is equal to dx by dt. So the first derivative of the displacement with respect to time is going to give you the velocity. Then the first derivative of the displacement will be 2t cubes. The first derivative will be 6t square, 8t square. So the first derivative becomes 16t, 4t. So the first derivative is 4. So the derivative of constant is 0. So similarly, in this way we have got the equation for velocity. So let us call it as equation number 2. Now acceleration. We know that acceleration is equal to dv by dt. So dv by dt, or we may say that it is the second derivative of the displacement with respect to time. So dv by dt. So here the first derivative of the 6t square. So that will be 12t minus 16t. The derivative will be only minus 16. So in this way we have got third equation. So these are the three equations that is expected to be derived, and we have done that job. Now the question is what? Determine its position, velocity and acceleration at time t is equal to 3 seconds. Here we can observe all these three equations are the function of time. So let only just put t is equal to 3 seconds in all these three equations, and in this way we can get the displacement, velocity and acceleration at time t is equal to 3 seconds. Thank you. Remaining part we will see in next part.